This is a good one. I mean, we alluded to this game even last week. Clemson, Florida State, and wow. Tell me first and foremost how you felt about Florida State last week, because I'm not gonna lie, I was rooting for Boston College at the end a little bit. Um, I mean, the whole thing with what's his face? I'm spacing Wells. That whole story, it was hard
Oh
like not to cheer. Like I feel like it's either you had money on Florida State, you're a Florida State fan, but other than that, I think everyone was cheered for Boston College. So, do you think it was just kind of a look ahead spot to this game?
I was cheering for Boston College at the end of the game. I was like, oh my God, please somebody end this.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so interesting because our defense looked just horrific. We could not stop anything on third down. It was absolutely insane, and it was very uncharacteristic. Our defense struggled against LSU at the beginning of the game as well, but then they made adjustments in the second quarter and then into the second half. But they looked so bad. The offense did okay. I mean, we had Johnny Wilson kind of redeemed himself from the previous game, but Keon Coleman, he didn't have any catches,
Yeah, it was
which is
really
fine.
weird.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
super weird. The play calling was kind of weird, but Keon, I mean, that's fine because he had a huge game the game before, and then the Southern Miss game,
Hmm.
and then Jaheim Bell looked fantastic as he always does, and Jordan got hurt. He had that injury right before the second half on that was his non-throwing arm, and then he got back in the game. But so did you hear? So yeah, we should have lost that game. We won that game on BC getting their record setting 18th penalty of the game.
Yeah,
The
and
face
what
mask.
it was like 7 to 8 false starts, I
Yeah,
believe, and
in a
then yeah,
row.
it was a dumb face mask. I mean, it was like maybe 3rd and 6, run up the middle. He was stuffed, and you saw that flag come in. So yeah,
Yeah.
guys are fortunate probably with some of those penalties, but hey, a win's a win.
Yeah, and if they didn't have a record amount of penalties, because 17 was their record, they tied their
Hmm.
record, and then that 18th penalty, that face mask, is what literally what gifted us that game. So if they didn't have those penalties, I mean, they could have won by like 2 touchdowns. But I don't know if you heard this, Ben. And I'm traveling. I didn't really have a chance to dig in too much to confirm this, but there were a lot of rumors, and I hope this is true for the Clemson game, because I'm afraid of what Will Shipley might do, because if our run defense looked as bad as it did.
Hmm.
Uh, but there were some rumors that a good chunk of the Florida State team had the flu that week, and a bunch of the players were on IVs right before the Boston College game.
Mm.
So that has been confirmed by some of the sources close to the university. I don't know. And it was weird because in Norvell's post game presser, he mentioned, he was like, he was very vague about it, but he said life happens, and everybody was like, life happens. What is he referring to?
Yeah,
He was very
yeah.
vague about that, but that could be what he was referring to. Basically, we had this flu outbreak, and,
Hmm.
that's why and just didn't want to make excuses, but that's why the team was so sluggish. That's why the defense was so slow.
Well, it would make sense, but I understand like why you didn't want to just come out and say that, because
Come out
you
and
look
say
like you're
that.
like a sore, I guess, sore winner since they barely won.
Sore
But yeah,
winner, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So if there is any truth to that, I mean, I know they're hungry to bounce back in this Clemson game. I know that this is a game with massive implications, right?
for
So
sure. Yeah,
I think I still believe that they'll bounce back with whatever happened in the Boston College
Mm-hmm.
game, but definitely a game that could go either way because Clemson has a lot on the line as well, and that's a
Yeah.
tough home game environment. It's a tough
Yeah.
place to play.
Clemson, I think the way they're looking at this and the way Dabo Swinney is going to get them up for this is, hey, if we win out, like we can still make the college football playoff. I actually think that's fair. It would depend on what happens with other teams, but I guarantee you that's what he's saying. Because actually, traditionally, if we look at some of these teams who have made the playoffs with one loss, the losses usually come earlier in the season. And I think with Clemson, that performance against Duke is probably one of the worst performances under Dabo Swinney. It was such a weird game. That game could have been won by Clemson, and I know that's crazy to say that it's a 28-7 final, but there were just so many fluke fumbles, weird plays. It should have been a lot closer either way. So the total here is 55.5, 50 at some spots, and then 2.5 for Florida State. So on the road, I'm staying away from the side. I want to get there with Clemson, and I think there's going to be some sharp people who do take Clemson money line, but I think there could be a case for some sharps on Florida State too. I like the under actually. I think the under for me is going to be the play at 55.5 as my lean. I don't know if I'm going to bet it yet. I guess it's 55.5 on Sport Trade too as well. That's a pretty good number at -106. I just think the defense will step up, and I think Dabo will try to kind of control the clock in this one, keep the ball out of Travis Jordan's hands, and yeah, I think that's going to be the play for me. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's hard to, again, as the side in this one, I think it's just going to depend on if Florida State's defense actually shows up, because if their defense shows up, then it's going to be a rock fight basically. So
that's what I think. I think they will show up. So that's my hope, and that's why I like the under.
Yeah. I like that.
This is I guess an early start. So 12 on the East Coast at noon. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. Definitely gonna be a fun one. Are you gonna bet this one? I know you're a Florida State fan.
I don't know yet. I'm still I want to take Florida State to cover because in a kind of just in a bounce back spot.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do bet it, I probably won't bet it for a lot. Just, maybe
kind of a fan bet. Yeah.
Yeah, just to root for them, in a bounce back spot here, but and maybe a little bit on the under as well. How much has that total moved?
Yeah, that's a good point. So if we look at the unabated line, which, guys, if you have unabated or want to check out the free trial, the unabated line is really cool. It basically takes in some of the sharper books and gives you a greater source of truth of what the line should be using their algorithm. So the unabated line has it at 55. So, if you're looking to play an under, you would probably want to grab a 55.5, which they're out there. So as far as a move, though, like if you look at Pinnacle, it's kind of going back and forth. I don't think it's really gone up and down quite a bit. I guess it did hit 56.5, but then it just immediately dropped down. So,
but that's still not bad. That's still that's not a bad number. I think I would still I'd probably still play that. I mean, this could easily be like a 23-27 game or
and it hits
something like that.
Totally. Yeah. This is gonna be fun. I'm definitely gonna be watching this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about another big matchup this weekend. Ole Miss and Bama. It's kind of funny because not many seasons do we get a Bama game like this.